Hello and welcome to another edition of the Mr. Wonderful Meatball Movie Podcast. I am Mr. Wonderful. You can always follow me on Twitter at wonderful_radio. So I am here today to review Super Troopers 2. I just got out of the movies, just saw the film not too long ago, and I have to tell you, uh, fairly half crowd in the theater, but very funny. We were having a blast. It was a fun time. And this is a movie that is made for its fans. It is made for you. It is made for the person that has loved Super Troopers 1, has waited for the sequel to come out. They're not breaking any new ground. They're not. There are times where they're doing some things different, and times that they're, you can see that they're trying to do something slightly different, but they're not breaking any new ground. You know what you're getting with this film, and that's really one of the big things that I liked about this is that they made it for you. They knew what when we're sitting there, they know what you want to see. They know what you're there for, and they understand that you've waited 17 years to see this sequel to this movie that has just become such an iconic film. And that'll eventually lead into kind of some of the cons, but some of the other things that I really like about this again is with the fact that they know what they're doing and they're giving it to you. It's very vulgar, it's very stupid, it's very funny, it's very kind of over the top the way that the first film was. uh, the plot is so loose, again similar to the first film, very loosely based plot, but it's everything. The movie runs with the whole aspect of getting us from a point A to a situation where Broken Lizard is going to play out the bit that they're playing out, which then progresses the story. It's always progressing to them having some form of a bit play out. And when you get to the bits and when you get to those moments of the film, these sequences that they have set up, they play out brilliantly. They're very funny. There's a whole mountainy sequence with them that just is some of the funniest stuff that you'll see. I can think of some other moments as well. Uh, I know I personally am a big hockey fan, but they made a lot of really funny jokes just on Canadians and hockey. Because, again, if you don't know the premise of this one, the premise of this one is we are now catching up with them after they have been fired from the Woodbury Police Department for the Fred Savage incident, which in and of itself is worth the hour and 40 minutes, which is another good thing. Another thing I really liked about this movie. It's a short film. It's an hour and 40, so it moves along. At no point does it feel slow or slow down. It it starts off a little slow because again you're being reestablished with these characters and you're finding out where they are. You're finding out about the Fred Savage incident, but the Fred Savage incident is similar to the school bus incident. That's all I'll say in the sense of it's constantly repeated to you, but you're gonna have to wait to the end of the movie to actually find out what happened. And it's a good payoff. It's a good wait. It's fun. It's very it's worth it. It's definitely worth it. Just like the school bus was. But again, you're catching up with them 17 years later. You finding out all these things, and essentially, there's an aspect of the Canadian border and the American border that is actually American territory. So they're going into a Canadian state that's now becoming America. Again, very flimsy, loose plot lines, very simple, basic, but it's all set up so that you're going from a point A to a point B, which is where Broken Lizard is then doing their comedy bit, and it's playing out very well for you. Uh, Quickly to hit on some cons of the movie, some things that I personally, I I'm gonna say one of the cons to this, and I actually will personally say that this is an unfair con to this movie, is that it took 17 years to get to the sequel, and unfairly because it was crowdfunded as well. I know some people take issue with that. I don't take issue with that. It's hard to get a movie going sometimes. It's hard for a studio to invest in a movie, even if they know that we want to go see it. The box office has been down. That's why I do these as well, to tell you whether or not it's worth your time to go to the movies, because the box office has been down because of the way people feel movies have been made lately. So the timing, 17 years, crowdsourced, that's unfair cons, but does also play out a little bit in the cons as well, because you can tell uh, through the 17 years, it doesn't have the Independence Day feel where it was you had all this time and this is what you gave us. But again, 17 years, there's just such a long gap there that you can feel it at times, that there's just kind of a long gap, and it lives off of that nostalgia of what they did the first time at moments, which is, you know, it was some of the rehashing, okay, but again, there's one rehash that I thought was brilliantly done, kind of calling back to Farva in the first film. The way that they do it, though, it went. I don't know how the audience didn't catch it. It was very funny, very blatant, and you'll know I'm sure you will know exactly what it is when you go see this movie. What scene I'm talking about, involving the callback to Farva the first time you meet him in the first film. But as far as my grade goes, I give this 3.5 out of 5 meatballs. Again, this is made for the fans, so that 3.5 meatballs does come from the fact that I am a fan of the original. I saw the original in theaters. I loved the original. It's one of my favorite comedies. So what they did very much satisfied me as a fan of Super Troopers, so I give it 3.5 out of 5. Again, that's more a personal one for me. I can see some fans of the original not liking this because of, again, the cons that I say are unfair for it. But I can see, for the most part, if you were a fan of the original, you'll enjoy this. And it is definitely worth your time at the theaters and on your 420. So, with that being said, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Remember, you can subscribe. I have a special video as well you can check out that'll be coming out a little bit later on 420 tomorrow, because this is up right now on Thursday. So coming out tomorrow on 420, we will have top 10 movie countdowns, the 10 best stoner comedies that you can watch for your holiday celebration, so to say. So thank you guys again. Again, I'm on Twitter as well. You can always message me if there's a movie you want me to review, something you know, old films, new films, I'll review them all. I'll review television shows. I love talking about this stuff, and I love that you love watching me talk about this stuff. So leave your comments in the sections below. Share this video with some friends, and thank you guys so much again. And on Twitter at @wonderful_radio. So talk to you later.